has come, when disclosure is brought not by the governments, not by the secret services, but by the people of Earth themselves. It is no more time to wait for crumbs of disclosure, because the disclosure, it is us. Time has come.
When I was a very young child, maybe about 3, I mean, how innocent can you get? However, somebody tried to kill me. Simple reason being money. Wanted lots of money. So I was hurt, but a being had come and resurrected me right in front of my grandmother. She was so pleased that I was brought back. My clothes were completely tattered, but she could see my body being repaired. And I was standing straight up, not like nothing happened. So she brought me home. That's the first instance. Second instance was, again, I was poisoned. I was told by doctors that told everybody, I'm not going to make the night. Well, this being came down, took my consciousness or so by the hand. We were flying over the rooftops. Could see birds, a couple of turtle doves. Could see my grandparents coming and driving up. And when she brought me back, I related this story to my grandmother. Everybody was astounded because that's exactly what they saw outside. So these are the events that my grandmother never let me forget. So as I grew up, maybe in a matter of weeks and months, some of these, holy men, like priests and whatever, they do a lot of seances and removal of these dark spirits. Because it's a very common thing back in the day where I grew up. Children especially were targeted. What they did was just let me play with the child, and the child's cleaned. That spirit is gone. It's not that I did anything special. It's just an energy thing that I worked with, that I guess I carried. And I've done a lot of them, dozens of them. Even the Catholic priests took me in because they couldn't handle the spirit that was that had invaded the child. Anyway, as I grew up, I never thought much about it because I just went through life. If I come across somebody suffering like this, I just help them. There were other beings. Think about it now. There were other beings coming to talk to me. They just sat me down, spoke with me, like I was an adult, even though I was a child. I realized they're not humans. They came from somewhere else. Because I remember being small and looking up. There was this huge spaceship right above me. When I say huge, it's, if you remember the airliners flying by in the sky, the airliner was flying underneath this ship, and it was just like a little speck like a little fly compared to the ship. So this ship was massive. And when he went up to the atmosphere, he would just blink in the flashlight and it disappeared. So definitely not from this earth. And come to think of it, there have been many, many smaller ships that had come to visit. I had no idea who they were. But they were not saucer discs. They were, a bit like the Star Wars type ships. Lots of them, little ones. And I never thought much about them. And to me, I used to make a lot of sketches in my book, my sketchbook, and the teacher said, stop drawing them because your imagination is going crazy. Anyways, I love to, you could say from that, because I was writing and describing a lot of little adventures, I learned to write. In fact, when by the time I was 9 years old, I had my first book. How? Because of all these little essays I made, and school essays as well. The school principal saw it, saw what I had written. There's this massive diaries and writing stuff. He put them all into a book, bound it, and sent it all out to all the parents in school. Say, see, small kid can write, something like that. In fact, it was used by the country as an example to, that, see, you can write English, not because English is bad. It's whether you want to focus time on it or not. Anyway, as I grew up, I used to travel. I used to go into the forests and jungle. I did a lot of hunting myself. Only hunt, fishing, whatever it is, just enough for food. And people were really astounded that I could even hunt a deer.
What age were you?
Maybe my young teens, 12, 13 years old. I was doing that already. And by the time I was 14 or 15, I was taking people into deep jungles on eco tours. They want to take people, want to take pictures of tigers, elephants, giant snakes, whatever. We ran into some fantastic adventures, to tell you the truth. Anyway, by the time it came for my military days, I mean, everybody in where I came from had to go to the military. I didn't think myself as big extraordinary or anything like that. In fact, I was so ordinary when I got in there. I met some people outside. I didn't know who they were at first. They had me tested, and they say, okay, they want to send me to a university in London, England, to get some special qualifications. I said, okay, but first we have to do an IQ test. Would you believe I had to do it 4 times?
4 times?
4 times, because the first time they just say, okay, we can't ascertain your IQ. Second time, it's not enough because we got to send you to a higher one. The third one, they said they can't ascertain it yet. And the fourth time, they said they never gave me an answer. The next week, 6 officers from the Prime Minister's office came and grabbed me.
Prime Minister office, yes.
Yeah. Instantly, my life wasn't mine anymore.
Wow. Could you tell for the audience which country or area of the world it was for better understanding?
That would be Singapore.
Singapore. Okay, thank you.
Okay. The reason why is because I had a type of IQ that was only Mensa only identified 11 before. I was the 12th one. So instantly, this prime minister wants me as his asset.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? So my life wasn't mine anymore, really. For the next 10 years, I was in the military, special forces.
Okay.
Yeah, I became a sniper. I also had other talents, right? Like the hunting and all that. I was just a little unusual, not quite the normal human. And also, I developed a kind of there's something unusual. See, when I was growing up, as a kid, I had the ability to use a sword. Never been taught, never been trained, but I had the ability to use a sword. Swordsman. I was very, very good at it. I even had the kung fu teacher that said he wanted to teach me. He says, "Okay, hit me." I said, "No." He insisted, so I did, and never heard from him again for the next hour and a half because I hit him on the head. I mean, I was only, 8 or 9 years old. And you know, that's very, very embarrassing for a guy like that. But anybody else, even if it's 4 or 5 people attacking me, you know, the sticks in place of a sword, none of them could come anywhere near me. Right? I was extremely good at it. So I had no idea where this came from.
Mm.
It's like genetic memory.
Yeah, or
And
previous
also
life. Or...
and also I had developed a tremendous amount of strength. Like I was maybe 11 or 12, but I had the strength of an adult. I felt stronger than most adults at that age. You know, the people who lift barrel full of rocks. One person can't do it. You need 2. I could do it myself. Right? At that age, it's quite scary because I didn't look big. I wasn't huge. I didn't look very strong, but I was. Anyway, that helps in the military. And because of where I was, who I was actually when I started finding out, one of those old people was actually my biological grandfather. He owned the bank.
Okay.
So this is where he taught me banking. I was also a banker at the same time.
Okay.
I mean, at the higher level, not the bank teller, but actually a bank officer. So I know what banking is internationally. And the prime minister's okay with it because you know, he wants super intelligent people around him, especially when he's dealing with money. So I have been sent on many missions. I was given a lot of authority over many things. So being a PM, the prime minister, he could raise my rank anytime he wanted. I was raised to the rank of colonel.
Of?
Colonel.
Colonel.
That's at the age of 21. That's the nobody else in the world has that rank at that age.
Yeah, I suppose.
The youngest ever. But then I carried myself very well, spoke very well, and spoke to a businessman. Nobody questions me about anything. But also, they also know that in the military, any crazy missions, guess who goes?
Of course.
And I was given charge of holding back, having a contingent of military to hold back the the Khmer rouge over in Thailand
Yeah.
borders because they're always encouraging Kyrgyz, and these Pol Pot people, they have a huge army there, and if they ever cross, nothing can stop them. You know, the whole region will be under their control. Anyway, there was one time when they started making an attack. I won't go into details of what it did, but even though we had a very small contingent, we did turn back the entire army. If they had continued, we were gone. But you see, all our weaponry were completely used because our force is very small. But we managed to wipe out the Air Force. We wiped out the floating assets. We wiped out their the hardware, the cannons and all that. So the rest of the army turned around, thankfully. But if they knew what we had left, they would have continued, because our guns, our main guns, we only had one shell left. One. Can you imagine that? We fired everything out, we already had one left. Our helicopters were completely dry. We had no more missiles, nothing else. But the idea of how to attack them was given like the plan to do it it's like somebody up there gave me the plans and I had an answer within 30 seconds of what to do, because I had no time to wait. I had no time to ask for permission for anything. Just go ahead and do it. Somebody told me. Something told me. And of course, the King of Thailand is extremely grateful. Grateful enough to give us a bank brunch over in Bangkok. It was fine. There were many adventures. One that related to ETs. Let's get back to ETs.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. They have been used for assassinations. Like sometimes Singapore is used as a destination for world leaders to come and have a platform and speak.
Yeah.
Right. But we're always on the lookout for assassins. And former prime ministers like Benazir Bhutto, the lady from Pakistan, I was assigned to protect her. So me and my team were protecting her. And we were told that by MI6, British, and CIA in USA, they said there was they each knew of an assassin that would come and try something. True enough, they did show up, but there was a third one. Okay, no, maybe I said I was a sniper. Okay, but the sniper gun I use, you can't use it in the city because it's a 50 caliber and carries explosive shells. It will blow through a tank armor. It's a special type of weapon. But I do carry another one, a handgun, which is has an expanded gas chamber. So we sometimes call it the urban sniper. It's a handgun, but has the power of a rifle. So we shot the first two. Didn't kill them, just shoot them. Got them. They were humans, except the third one wasn't. The third one was a little way off on the street, getting ready to fire to shoot this former prime minister of Pakistan. I noticed, being a hunter in the jungle, you notice things. So I could sense him, find him. He realized I had seen him and he started running. I shot him 6 times, would you believe? Regular bullets do not penetrate his skin.
I know what you're gonna say. Go on.
Right? And he ran very, very fast. But I told my guys, the rest of my team, do not apprehend him because he's something unusual. I caught up with him and I give him a choice: surrender or die now. I switched over the bullets to armor piercing now, and if I used it, he'd be dead. And got a little closer, found his skin was a bit scaly. Okay, he looks like a human from distance, but you get close, he had very thick, darker skin and scaly. It's a hybrid. Human reptilian hybrid. So that made him extremely strong. And he had one more ability. He could hypnotize the person standing in front of him. And under his arm, he had another claw for fighting. So we arrested him, but when we handed him over, we had no idea where he went. Secret stuff.
Okay.
But that wasn't the only time I've come across a reptilian. I was in the airbase, and there was a time when the Prime Minister of Singapore was being asked to do many things that he didn't want to do, bad for his reputation. I noticed when I was walking by on patrol, or just not on patrol, but just walking by, this fenced up, non-secured area. They had these, liquefied petroleum tanks, giant ones. They supply this gas to households and the airport and all that. So I was wondering who the person was. So when confronted him, one of these things, and he pulled out a gun. I had to take the gun away from him because in that situation you can't fire anything, otherwise the whole thing blows up. So I had another hand-to-hand combat with these guys. He wasn't easiest guy to take down. But I did eventually. And then the whole airbase was locked down and to search for these fellas. I brought in my team and they grabbed him and cuffed him. I told my team, don't just use ordinary handcuffs. Those, we got to use those heavy prisoner ones. These guys are incredibly strong. Again, he vanished. After being arrested, he vanished. Okay. So reptilian human hybrids are around. They're not just imaginations. They're real.
Do you think they were working for the government there or special organization?
No, somewhere else. Somewhere else. No, certainly not ours. And there are 2 more instances actually. One in Indochina, where the Thai people, the Thai soldiers were scared after they said there's a demon running the place. I know that the case is about drugs and CIA. They send one SAS squadron to try and quell something there. but the team never came back. I was asked to go inside and investigate. I did. And he was run by what they call the demon. It's the same thing, the same hybrid, human reptilian hybrid. This guy, well, my team are all snipers, very, very good ones. We can hold back 1,000 people, 1,000 men. If they're say a kilometer away, we can hold them all back. They can't come up forward. We'll take them all down. If they're close enough, then they'll get us. But when they're far away, we have time to get them. So that leader was so-called surrounded. What he did was he pulled out his the old-fashioned sword and challenged me to a battle openly. So I did. We had to carry him out minus his leg. Minus one arm, minus one leg. Like a wild animal, we put him on a stick and carry him out. And you know what? He didn't die. It's incredible, these things, these creatures.
They're very resilient, yeah. Difficult to kill.
And by the time brought up there, the police, when they saw him, they just ran away because they said he's a demon. He was just screaming.
Can you describe him a bit more?
Human-like. Again, very, very human-like. Heavier stature than normal humans. Thicker bodies, thicker arms and all that. Very strong. Legs are a little bit more extended. So they move incredibly fast. It's like they can sense your next move. You see, the training I had, the fighting, you can sense me because I don't think. I don't think about the next move at all. I'm thinking probably 3 or 4 moves ahead. So you can counter that one. You can try to counter the next one here. And you think I'm going to reach that 3rd or 4th move, I won't. I may not. I may deviate again. So I was trained that way, differently. I'm fighting with energy, very different. The scales, again, tough as hell. Very, very tough scales. You hit it and you find that you're hurting. You hurt your hands. And regular bullets do not, like I said, do not penetrate. It sticks there. You can pull it out. So you need armor-piercing bullets to get through underneath.
Yeah, so that the question I would have is, what is the best way to kill them efficiently, quickly?
I would say slash the necks.
Okay.
See, under the necks here, it's rather softer.
Yeah, okay.
Right, because it has to move and breathe, and it's rather softer. Otherwise, the rest of the bodies are incredibly tough. Even the torso. These human hybrids, they do not have a tail. I've seen real Ciakahrrs. They do have a short tail. This one's had no tail at all.
Okay.
Yeah, there was another incident this time it's in Japan. They had no idea what was going on in the country. It turned out that there were 3 of these guys killing people there out in the country. Hundreds of people were killed. So but you were shut down completely. Caught one of them, though. Caught one, the other two escaped. And I noticed they were using a gray saucer ship.
Oh. Okay.
And they took off. And nothing you can do about that. And we caught this first one. And they were very surprised I sneaked up on it. Because normally they would sense somebody coming.
So you saw them beaming into the ship or going into the
Climbing
ship?
into the ship.
So the ship had landed?
Had landed.
Ah, the ship was landed. Okay, so discoidal gray saucer?
Yeah, it's a gray type saucer. Same saucer I seen at Area 51. About Ciakahrrs, where did I see him first? There's only one time. Out in Malaysia, East Malaysia. It's very mountainous. It's a very forested, mountainous area. And the people were complaining that the children going missing. And again, we were asked to investigate. So me and my team, 7, we went to investigate. Boy, were we ever shocked. We came to a place where there was a mountain with a huge cavern underneath. Huge, when I say huge, it's a plane could fly into it. But as we approached, I noticed something moving, and a Ciakahrrs came out and challenged us. He yelled at us. Can you imagine our shock? A being that's about 9 feet tall, sharp teeth, like a reptilian face, growling at us, wearing armor. Dark skin, very scaly being. And his legs, it's like extended. There seems to have another joint. So he has extremely long legs, actually. He looks like a very, very powerful being. And he took out a gun, his gun. It's an energy weapon, and just fired at a rock. And, the rock just blew up. It's not small rock either. I mean, it's like the rock's about 2 meters across, but it just blew out right up.
What was this gun? Was it an energy beam or?
Energy beam, yes.
Yeah.
So instantly, being the soldiers that we were trained to be, we took off. What do you call took cover, right? And then more of them showed up and started firing, so we fired back. But my guys were just complaining, can't get them at all. They keep bouncing around because the moment before you can squeeze the trigger, they got out of position. You couldn't fire them. You couldn't figure them at all. Regular rounds didn't do anything to them at all. They didn't care. They just stood there, let the bullets hit them and bounce off their armor and their bodies or whatever. They just wasn't afraid of us. That was until I used my gun. Because of I switched to uranium rounds, the explosive rounds. And that made them duck a bit because those rounds won't kill them. However, they move so fast, we just couldn't hit them. But we did carry one more thing. I did carry one more thing because I'm authorized to do that. We had a bazooka-like weapon that fires, not the bazooka, not the regular bazooka. The warhead is actually what we call a neutron device.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry one of them. I don't something I don't use because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But in that situation, we fired the device into the cabin, and almighty blast there, and we ran for dear life after because I mean we were completely outgunned by these guys. Their weapons were just incredible. You can't hide behind anything because they just keep blowing it up. you know, big rocks are just blowing up. Anyway, we ran and didn't stop. But we did send a recce, it was a helicopter search the next day. We found that the mountain had compressed, collapsed, and there was no more stories about missing children after that.
So what do you think happened?
I think they abandoned the place.
And they collapsed the mountain themselves to block the entrance of the cave?
No, I don't think so. I think they ran to the bottom. They ran deeper inside because the neutron bomb would have collapsed the mountain.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah.
The blast would be powerful and knock on the mountain.
So they gave up and they ran away, and missing children was finished.
Yeah, I guess they abandoned the outpost.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they were discovered.
So that was a very frightening situation because it took us a long time to get it around here. So what the hell did we just encounter? No idea. No idea such beings existed.
I know.
So it was quite frightening at first. Yes. There are many other situations where the other friendly ETs, they're not always so nasty.
I would like to hear these ones too, but go on.
Well, friendly as in, like the first case where I was resurrected, right? There was another time when there was this, I thought it was a holy man sitting by the river. I had decided I had gone fishing, wanted to go fishing in the river. So I mean, he gave me a shock, and when he started talking to me, I said, "Oh, I never saw you." And he was curious. He was asking about what I thought about this fish. What did I think about that? Little things. Talking about normal everyday things. And then he gave me a little bit of advice and said, "There's more to come in your life." I had no idea what he meant. So he said, be prepared. Things didn't go south after that. Got very, very bad. But he says, "You will survive it somehow." Okay, well, thanks a lot. But what?
Yeah.
At least I was kind of warning you ahead of time. Now, a lot of people ask me about Area 51.
Yes, that's That's
how I
very,
got there.
yeah. How did you?
These events I'm talking about, you know, it's like in the 80s, early 80s.
In the
So
80s, yeah.
yeah, it's quite some time ago. Anyway, okay, I had a very special ability. I was tested where they found that I could project gamma vibrations, detectable gamma. You know, you have a meter, and they see the gamma rays, they see the gamma effect. They could actually measure it
The gamma waves produced.
outside my body,
Yeah. Okay.
so I could affect things that way. I know what they mean because sometimes I walk by a television set at the time, and the television set goes off. Do something funny, you know. So since they knew that I had this gamma ability, the there was some not CIA but higher secret service people. They asked if I could be brought to Area 51 for testing, for development. When the Prime Minister heard that it was to do with aircraft, he says, okay, but only for 2 weeks.
So he landed you to. So you said it wasn't the CIA; it was a secret service you didn't know anything about.
No,
Okay.
much higher up,
Much
somewhere
higher.
dark. Yeah, much darker, something to do with space, whatever. Aerospace developments and whatever. Anyway, I was brought there, and like I said, for 2 weeks, very intense 2 weeks. I was assigned two human guards. They didn't carry the regular bullet weapons. They carried energy weapons. I was asked them why do I have them? To keep the other ETs away from me. And so why? I didn't know why, but I could see this now that I know that the Grey Alliance are really nasty beings. That's why. Because there are a lot of the little ones running around, I know, they're like little rogue androids. And there's Tilitikud, tall whites. And I did see one or two of these mitras.
So actually,
they had horrible attitudes.
so can you describe all the races you've seen there in Area 51 interacting with humans? So you said I was.
Yeah, most of the interactions are by telepathy.
Yeah.
They usually have one assigned officer that is telepathically inclined to interpret what these people are trying to communicate.
Yeah.
In fact, if there's a scientist there, you have this telepathic guy with the scientist as well. Outside the Area 51, the parameters, the security is incredibly tight. Inside is more jovial. It's most fun in there. The humans, at least the humans, they have a lot of jokes and fun, and they push each other around a lot. And, all fun and games stopped when I saw those what they call flying saucers. Then I realized, oh, okay, what's this? What's this floating in the air? And there was some landed with struts, the gray ones. Others from I don't recognize, but they're floating in midair. And most of them are pretty small. No bigger than 10 meters across. But there was one that was like at least 50 meters across, and it's saucer shaped, and it's floating, wasn't touching the ground. And the beings that go up and down this beam thing, they stand underneath and they go up or down. And that's the one we rode in actually later on.
Yeah, you told me you were aboard one of these, but could you describe the different races that you saw over there? So you said the Mitra, Kili, Toker.
Mitra, I can remember them very well, yes, very clearly, mainly because of the bloody attitude they carry. Yeah. Very vicious looking. That they could seems to be aloof, just stand aloof. They all wear these kind of coverall things, and the Mitra was wearing this dull bluish type of coat or jumpsuit, body covering. It must be some kind of armor type material as well. The little greys, they weigh nothing, they just run around. Stink though.
The little greys, they stink, yes, absolutely.
You can always tell them before they arrive.
You smell them before you see them. Yeah, is it a smell like a rotten a bit?
Well, a bad toilet, yes.
Yeah.
And it gets especially bad when there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them in a small room. The humans, what they do is they turn on the exhaust fan full.
And this, as we speak about them, these little small greys, what were their tasks? Do you think they were assigned to certain work there or a certain purpose?
Yeah, they seem to be doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Which was?
Yeah, you see them sometimes adjusting pieces of equipment, sometimes assembling some little pieces of equipment, or organizing a panel of some kind. And always after that is done, a tall gray or the metro will take over. Yeah, they're like little servants.
Yeah. Okay.
And they never smile.
Do you think they could have been like synthetic or real biological beings?
They seem biological, but I cannot feel any auras from them. I do not see any auras. I have another talent. I have another ability is that I can see auras. And they have no auras.
There are no auras. That's interesting. Yeah. So they were assigned to taller greys, you said, isn't it?
Yes.
These taller greys, were they Mitra or Kili Tokert or another species?
I don't see any other species. Only those three.
Okay. Can you describe the Kili Tokert as you saw them?
Oh yeah, there was like greys, but tall, much taller, longer necks, skinny, and the females have very long hair.
Very long hair. The color
And
of the skin, yeah, go on.
yeah, the color of skin is, I don't know why they call him white. It's more like death. Somebody had died. Deathly type color. Not very pleasant. It's like somebody, you take somebody out, dead person out of a freezer. Yeah, it's, there's that sort of, it reminds me of a white dolphin.
Yeah, okay. And the eyes?
Rather tilted, almond shaped, and very piercing because they communicate through telepathy. And I could tell that they were not used to being polite. You know, they say, "Okay, I want to eat you." Okay, they tell you, "I want to eat you. I want this. I want that."
The
No such
face?
thing as please.
Yeah, were the face human or they had more like traditional gray face?
Elongated, like you have a Barbie doll and you slap it flat.
Okay, very good picture. Yeah, yeah. Do you think they, some people could call them the tall whites or not?
Yeah, they were referred to as the tall whites in there,
Yeah.
and the guys there were the humans there were very wary of them because they like to go into mind control.
What do you think the purpose of the Kili Tokurt was of being residing in Area 51? Their work, their job?
Well, I think they seem to be doing two things that I noticed. One was some scientists were being instructed on build telling them how to, they wanted build modules of part of a spaceship this way or that way, and to telling the scientists they want this, they want the engineers to do engineer it that way. Another thing is some of the others will come and or offer technical advice on, like the humans were developing a floating device, for example. So these engineers and scientists are being instructed on the energies required. Some were instructing, some were. So I guess it is to do with getting Earth resources to build something, and in return they're getting instruction on technology.
Okay. They were residing in the Area 51. They had,
Yeah, they had their own, but they had their own area.
they had their own area.
Yeah.
Right. Where was it, buildings or underground?
Underground.
Underground. Okay.
They always prefer living underground, which is very strange.
So would you say they were giving instructions and a consultant in alien technology to the personnel of Area 51?
Yes.
What were they getting in exchange?
I think I can tell you this. I don't know if it's because they're lazy. They don't build industrial stuff. Industrial stuff is something that Earth does very well. Terran people do very well. They don't. They need somebody to build the hardware for them.
Okay.
So they would ask our scientists to develop it for them to the way they want it.
Do you think they had a more personal secret purpose to
Oh yes, definitely.
something that they were doing in the undergrounds under the base that humans were not allowed to interfere?
Much.
What do you think
Much
it
they
was?
were doing. I don't think there were any human experiments down there.
Okay.
Yes, Area 51 is more mechanical.
Okay.
Or in the, in development of weapons and such. So what was a big thing over there was energy emissions. So I mean, so this is where the Earth people, our people, try to transfer this technology to their own aircraft, and this is where I came in. So what they do, if you notice outside of Area 51, sometimes there's a whole squadron of F-15s sitting outside. They're mostly experimental planes. I can, the little history I had with these, what was told was this: they had a lot of volunteer pilots, very good ones, to develop fly-by-thought planes. However, normally humans do not generate a lot of gamma projections outside the body. They don't do it naturally. So inside your brain, you can have it blowing up, but the projectile, that's not quite normal. So what they do is they inject this pilot with some kind of a serum that overactivates the brain. And they go flying out and they come back. Do it too often, the brain turns into mush. Many pilots die that way. The brain just disintegrates. So they were running out of pilots. And they didn't want any more of the pilots to die. So when they found me, they tried a different way of doing it. So what they did was they trained me to fly a plane, fly an F-15. You got to learn it very fast, but I do learn very quickly because I learned to fly a helicopter over the weekend.
So how was that working? You were in a seat in the plane, and were there electrodes or something? Technically, the details.
This crazy helmet.
Please.
These things sticking out all over the place.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of equipment behind. So what they've done is they had ripped out the back seat. This is an F-15F, it's a two-seater. I was sitting in front. I was I'll be the pilot, and the co-pilot seat will be ripped out, and all the equipment is there behind me. But in the meantime, I was wearing this helmet with things sticking out all over the place, like a giant virus. So I would take off and land, take off and land. A lot of practice flights, and then they put me into maneuvers.
How did you just think that the plane?
So initially it was flying by hand, right?
Yeah.
And later on, I start to be hands off and let the instruments take over. By thought.
Okay.
What advantage that is after a while, not immediately, but after a while, you see, when you're doing it manually, it could take half a second to go through a maneuver and a sequence of half seconds for different maneuvers. So when you're fighting an enemy plane, doing maneuvers and all that, several seconds go by, and by then the missile might have hit you. However, if all of these can be done in half a second combined, what have you got? An incredibly powerful machine, faster than anything and anybody can imagine. So that's the result. In fact, I got it down to about 0.2 seconds. Thought it's a lot faster. Like I could roll, aim, fire, and roll back again in a matter of 0.2 seconds. And then I can even switch over to a different weapon while I'm doing all that. Which is quite unheard of. There's no pilot could do it manually. So the engineers were really overjoyed that that can be done, because they had it on record, right? They say, okay, another plane has that kind of record. You can do a lot of things with future weaponry. I don't know, but for some reason they stopped the program. Okay. Yeah, maybe they ran out of pilots.
They were killing all the pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah, they better stop. Well, nothing can stop them. I mean, I don't know, these people have sort of ethics. Well, a different one anyway. Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. So at the end of it all, they gave me a patch to call, if you can fly what we call F-15 Eagle, that's the plane.
Eagle, yeah.
So they could say Eagle Driver, the patch for you.
So you have been on board a ship, a gray alien ship.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
All right, we were invited. This was not the Gray's idea. It was one of the general's ideas. Want to give me a ride?
The Greys the Gray general wanted to give you a ride.
No, not the Gray general. It's human.
The human general, yes. He wants that the Greys give you a ride.
Yeah, and see, sometimes they do take trips, short trips, here to there. So I said, okay, sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So my guards and his guards, and so I mean there were like 8 or 9 of us humans going up. It's kind of weird feeling when going in that energy thing going up, and it's like you're prickling all over, and you go lifted from the ground into the ship.
Oh yeah, you were lifted by a beam, energy beam, into the ship. Okay.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
And we were told, okay, this is a seating area. You may sit here and observe the Greys functioning.
It was the little ones?
Yeah, the little ones are all on the panels. I think that there's like 6 or 7 of them. They're all on panels working. And there was this Teletikud standing right in front, making sure that everybody knows that he's the captain. That kind of thing. Anyway, so when the ship started to move, it was wobbly, wobble. And the couple of little Greys and the captain turned on me, looked at me and said, "Stop it." I said, "What?"
Healy Talkers told you, stop it.
I said, stop what? No, I just looked at him and said, stop what?
What?
So I wasn't afraid of him
What?
either. No, witness. I said, what? You know, the general's laughing and says, you're not afraid of him either. Well, why would I be afraid of him? There's a reason why. General started and said, well, what's wrong? He's interfering with our controls. Huh? How am I interfering in the controls? It's because I'm focusing on the panels and they're sensitive.
Oh my God. So you could, if you were
taken
allowed,
over.
you could have taken over the ship and
Yes.
navigated it.
Yeah, because the game projections from me were very strong.
Yeah.
Right? I was stronger than they were.
Wow. Well, so in fact, that's very interesting because I heard some of their technology, it's just the ship is attuned to the DNA of the waves of the pilot, but obviously there are some ship that are not, and anybody that has the ability can pilot it. So then,
Yeah,
this one anyway.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay, it works.
Whoops. If there was a big talk,
Quite amusing actually.
wait, I would stop anything. What?
I mean, I haven't done anything.
I know. Oh my God.
What did I do?
Wow. What was their uniforms, the Keely to Kurt? They had a uniform?
Yeah, I won't call it a uniform. It's more like a coverall.
More of a, sorry?
More of a coveralls they're
Cover.
wearing on Earth. You seem to be wearing a different one
Mm.
than they would be. I've seen others that come and go from space coming down. Those are probably the uniforms, but those on Earth, I think it's a different one.
Mm-hmm.
They wear something different.
Okay. Have you seen any symbols or insignias on their uniforms, all these ETs?
For these Tilly's people, no, I don't remember these insignias. But I do remember the matrix. The triangle with the stripes.
Ah, that's it. A triangle with three stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They all wear the same thing.
Okay. Now, please tell us about the Mitra. So, what can you tell us about them?
Not a lot because they were being kept away from me. But they were interested in who I was. They did ask questions. They did try to approach. But my guards would point their guns up and say, "Go." They don't come any closer.
Yeah. How was their general behavior, attitude, the Mitra?
Rude.
Vicious.
They can't answer you without a hiss or a growl, something like that. I mean, think of a tiger. You know?
Yeah, like a tiger energy, very aggressive, aren't they?
Yes, very, very dangerous sounding. I can tell from their energy that they were aggressive.
Were they smelling as well?
Some,
yes, okay.
It's like a mold type smell.
Mold type smell, okay. Were they residing on the base? I mean, probably on the ground?
Yes, they were also on the base. They had their own spot.
Their own spot. Were they getting on with the other greys like Hilitokur?
No, they ordered them.
They didn't get.
They're not. They don't seem like allied or buddies. They just all of them around.
They
They were
tolerate
this,
each
they were
other.
that. Yeah. And very, very often they come very close to a fight actually.
Oh, between Mitras and Kilitokurt, yeah?
Yeah.
Believe that.
Not unusual.
Not unusual. Okay, I believe that. What do you think were the purpose of the presence of the Mitras in Area 51?
With the attitude, I think it's like they came to take something.
To take something.
Not really give. Maybe there's something they had planned, they had promised to exchange with humans. I don't know.
Do you think they were the ones who made agreements with the government in late 1940s, or you have no idea?
I don't think like 1940s. I think more recent.
More recent. Do you think they were taking people using humans?
I think so because they have an attitude of when they saw me, they wanted to approach and wanted to know me.
Yeah.
Why? Without even asking, to just come.
They want something and they take it, don't they?
Yes. And you can see that the guards were ready to shoot at them.
Yeah, and I suppose was there an exchange with, I mean, where you said they didn't give anything, so
I didn't see them give anything.
so it was more they were here and nobody had to say anything because everybody was scared of them.
People were afraid of them, yes.
Afraid of them, yeah. Who owns?
And they carried one more thing.
Oh,
They
yeah,
carried
yeah.
an energy weapon as well. They had a packet, something. And they carried an energy type weapon that is like a bit of lightning. You fire it out. So whoever's at the end of that thing, he's going to be fried. I saw them use it once on some equipment, and they just, because they were unhappy with a piece of equipment, they fried the equipment.
Yeah.
Incredible. They had incredible power carrying them.
Very impressive. What about the interdimensional side of these beings? Do you think, and they had, have you experienced they had activity on other planes of dimensional planes? Were they able to shift dimensionally or modify the fabric of space-time?
Yes. One time, I noticed that the Mitra,
Mitra?
they had their own meeting with Sim from their own people from somewhere else. There was a portal, you know.
There were portals.
I could see that the room, the area there where they were,
Yeah.
clear air, and then there was this watery like effect around, and they
Like,
stepped through it.
it's like in the movie Stargate, you would say?
Not quite, not quite that elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the waveforms are changing, energy changing. So they could step back and forth in that. I guess it's sort of like more of their beings on the other side.
Mm. So there were beings coming through this portal from the other side.
Yeah, they came back, came talk about something, and then they went back.
Were they also Mitra or another
Mitra.
species? Mitras as well. Okay.
I said one time, and it's like, okay, I'm staying away from you guys.
Anyway. Yeah. What about the different ship? Could you say they had each a different type of ship, different shapes?
Yes, different shapes. I cannot really describe exactly what they look like. Um, but using the gray shape as a basis, they they actually look very similar.
Okay.
But I noticed that the mitra ships have a lot more energy. They glow a lot more.
Hmm. Okay.
And also you could feel the energy more. If you come too close, it's like you feel that they might fry you or something.
Yes, it's the energy field around the ship that you
Yeah.
can't approach. Um, have you learned anything about this technology? How it was working, this energy field, for instance?
Very basics, the very basics I did. And that's one more reason why the humans keep me away, because I pick these other things up very fast. It's because after this episode, I went back to my base with parts from the old aircraft. I developed, I made something that a floating device.
A floating device?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's small, but it would handle I don't know how many hundred times its own weight. And the Vatican heard about it and they wanted it.
The Vatican wanted it. It was a floating device. Like, you think it could be anti-gravity or another technology?
Anti-gravity,
Anti-gravity. That
very stable, and I made it very stable.
was it alien technology or retro-engineered
Me,
technology?
I did.
You did it.
Yeah,
You manufactured this device.
yeah. I put it together. Yes,
You put it together
from understanding what was going on, and I put it together.
from understanding from what you saw and you understood from a ship, for instance, or
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So, but I wasn't gonna let them have it. So I decided to toy apart.
So someone from the Vatican. I know you told me this story before, but I would like you to tell to the audience. Someone from the Vatican. The Vatican heard about this device. They wanted it. They sent someone who tried to get it from you, isn't it?
Yes,
Uh, I would like you to say the name of this person because anybody who has read my book, I mentioned this person with Area 51.
yeah. He's Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you. Thank you. So, you dismantled this device that nobody could have it.
That's right.
Would you be able to make it again?
Right now, I do not know if I can remember it because I mean, in the meantime, all these years, I have suffered several strokes because of the
Yeah.
the stresses, and much of my memories. I've come across situations where my memory is wiped.
Yeah.
Must have been several times because I can feel like there were empty spaces in my head, but every so often I get flashes of returning memory, which is wonderful because holes in your head isn't good.
No, no. What do you think these holes in your head are due to? Damage from all these experiments and work, or alien intervention?
I think it's alien intervention.
Do you think they wiped your memory on purpose?
Yes.
Who did that?
Who did that? I do not know exactly. My guess is I know one situation would be from the Mitra.
Mitra.
One of them, at least. There's more I know. One time.
Yeah, they didn't want you to remember what happened there.
Didn't want to. Didn't want them to. They didn't want me to remember what happened to me.
To
I
you.
mean, one of them had possessed me recently, attacked me, but I've thrown them off with help from friends. It wasn't easy because my whole body was inundated with infections. They did that because they wanted to, well, first take down my energy, make me helpless, and give up. But you see, I will not give up my mind,
No,
no matter what.
they are still bothering you and attacking you since all these years.
Yes, still are.
You're still fighting.
But I've learned to fight back recently.
Yeah.
And I do know one thing though. I have an ability of hand-to-hand combat. I've never been defeated
Yeah.
in any hand-to-hand combat.
They fear you.
I look how big you are. Because I've always come out on top.
Wow, you are very brave, and that is amazing. There was a question before we go on this subject. Do you think when you were working at the Area 51, who were your human bosses? I mean, with what institution?
Oh, that space agency that the US has. It's a dark. The problem with that one is it's dark.
Dark.
Also linked to the Vatican,
Okay.
which is the part I do not like because I run into situations with the Vatican that I really abhor. I'm really shocked that they do things like that. Like I had a mission with going to Bhutan to save a village with Gurkhas, with a whole regiment of Gurkhas. We didn't know it was the French Foreign Legion working for the Vatican. They were stealing artifacts. But we stopped them. But by then, half the village had been killed, unfortunately. So, you see, doing all these things, it's no wonder that for decades after they were coming after me still, trying to assassinate me.
Yeah.
Even recently, even when my child was growing up, he tried to kidnap my son. Yeah, but really, you hear the story about trying to trying to steal a cub from a lioness. No chance. Yeah, but for 20 or 30 years, I was fighting assassins coming in from nowhere. So life wasn't all that peaceful. Imagine the stress I had to go through.
So yeah. So since you left Area 51, when you left, were you threatened not to speak of it, I suppose?
Yes, ordered not to speak, but the prime minister says, "Talk about it. I want to hear."
So you told the prime minister in Singapore about your
The
experience?
prime minister and the higher military.
The high military. Okay.
Yeah, you have to tell them. You can't just shut up. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm walking around with that eagle driver patch. I mean, everybody wants to know.
You had a patch?
Yeah, see, once you're pilot of 915,
Oh yeah.
They give you a patch called Eagle Driver.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. I walk around with it. So it's, a lot of people got very, very interested. How did you get it?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I also got a Gurkha sword.
So that is fascinating. What else do you remember about that you witnessed, you saw in Area 51 that you haven't said?
Okay, yes. Memories do come back. The floors can move.
The floor can move.
Yeah. Huge slabs can go across, can be withdrawn. The ships can go down. Sometimes underneath what we are walking, it's a very huge ship underneath.
Oh, you mean that the floor slides open and the ship
Yes.
go down and there's facility underneath?
Yeah. And underneath the tunnels,
Yeah.
like this mountain into this mountain here, they're all tunnels. There are more tunnels underneath than there are buildings on top.
Yeah.
And many levels down.
Yeah.
One place I went down 10 levels.
10 levels. Is it what's going on in these undergrounds?
Weapons research, technologies. It's mostly mechanical. Mechanical, electronics. It's not unusual to have things floating by without anybody controlling it.
Wow. And would you say that the aliens are walking around with the people, with the employees of the base?
No, they have generally their own area. There's a co-mingling area where what they call the working areas. This is where they commingle.
Oh.
Other than that, they don't have that buddy uh, relaxed atmosphere when they are off work. Dangerous. It's dangerous for the humans.
Yes, so they're all like, they don't like humans, either the Kilitokert or
No.
the Mitras. And we know that, but that's really important to explain to the audience. And so the Mitras are there. We don't really know what they do, but they abduct humans. That's it. They have, you suspected that they were working with taking humans, but nobody really knows.
Yes. Because you see that powerful technology, they grab somebody, nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, yeah. Do they teleport people just like this? Just, do you think?
I think they have an agreement not to do that, I think.
Okay.
Because the Earth, they need the Earth beings to build things from them.
Yes. So they need to, not to be too horrible
I've
with them.
seen them take modules of stuff, heavy stuff. They've just been created by the humans, delivered to them, and they carry it and go through the portal, and they take it away with them.
Okay.
I've seen that happen.
Okay. And the Kilitokert are there for slave work or mechanical build stuff? What would you say the main purpose of their presence then?
Really, for us to build things for them.
For them, okay. They use us for.
Unfortunately, it's military weapons based.
Yeah.
I can tell that they might be creating some kind of armor or some kind of gun.
Okay.
Or some kind of a firing module, if you go to a battleship on Earth, you see turrets of turret and gun. They have their own version of it, much smaller, but there's a version of it that they put on the ships.
Have you seen the? Sorry, go on.
No, that's all right.
Have you seen the triangular black ship?
Yes, they had a triangular ship.
That's the key.
And they insist of keeping that ship underground.
Keeping that ship on the ground. Yes, yes. That's the Keely Tokert, isn't it? That have this black triangular ship.
They like to have it under the ground.
Under the ground. Okay, they don't want humans near them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They don't want to give the technology.
Anyway, they have this energy thing around them all the time.
Oh.
Okay, you really don't want to approach the ship anyway. And whoever human wants to get on board, they have to wear a special suit. Not my cup of tea.
No. Well, if they're not friendly, you think twice before getting on board, isn't it?
Yes, I wouldn't get on board with it. Even if the ship is empty, I wouldn't go on board because I don't know how they program it.
Yeah, you would like to be sure to get out. Wow, these are amazing.
The friendly ship, so that was a very unusual ship. It's not even like a ship, it's more like a shuttle.
Which ones?
More like a shuttle.
Yes.
Okay, like a small bus.
Who used this ship?
I have no idea. They didn't tell us. But
Okay.
my sense is from friendly ETs.
Oh.
It floats there. Anybody can approach and touch it even.
Wow. So it will be a fourth species that you didn't see that would be there using this ship, this bus shuttle like.
I just set aside because it seems the humans don't pay any attention to it.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of surprising because I think my sense is that it's got even higher technology than the other ones.
Oh.
Much higher. It's a very responsive ship. It's conscious. Like if I approach it, it sort of like moves a little bit, which is I found it a little unusual, and get a sense that it is alive, awake.
Mm.
But
yeah.
I do not know whose ship that is.
Okay.
It may be given to them.
Maybe.
Maybe it was given to them, but they didn't make use of it.
Or maybe, yeah, maybe they took it from somewhere or captured this ship and who knows?
Maybe, but but the funny thing is it's a friendly ship.
Yeah, you felt it was from a friendly species. Maybe
Yes.
it was captured and brought there. Who knows?
It could have been a gift.
As a gift. Oh, okay.
I mean, if this technology is a gift that's non-nuclear,
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
a benevolent ET would want you to figure it out.
So yeah. What have you heard about some ties between Area 51 and Wright-Patterson base in Ohio?
I heard about the underground tunnels,
The underground tunnels. Okay.
and they actually have trains going back and forth. Because sometimes I see a bunch of people in, and other times I see, but they didn't come up on the surface. Where did they come from?
Yeah, that's the big web of underground connecting all the military bases, the dumps and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I do know that, but I do know that it's not human experiments that they have underground. Area 51. So it's mostly mechanical, weaponry, energy, digital, and there's lots and lots of computer stuff.
Are they working also or mind control devices or things
Mind,
for the mind?
mind control devices is very, very common. It's like, the offices, the modules, you get a lot of robots or sometimes humans wearing all these crazy devices on the head, and instruments are always running.
So are they humans walking around with these devices on their head?
Not walking around,
Yeah,
they
I mean,
have to stay inside.
yeah.
They have to stay inside and attached to the system.
Yeah.
But they do have what you call, the space centrifuge when they train you to take G forces. There's all that stuff in there. Train the humans.
Do you think there are humans um, that are taken in space out of world to go to other planets to work with these ETs somewhere else?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
oh yes. I've met a few of them that they say they just come back from Mars. Huh? To me, it's like, is that possible? At that time, I didn't understand. And so I asked them, do you ever go back? They said, no, they're slaves. They work like slaves. If they don't work, they get thrown outside, and they won't last 2 minutes.
So you met humans, military personnel coming back from
I
Mars?
won't call them military personnel. I
No,
think they're more like technical people.
technical people coming back from Mars, saying that there are facilities there where humans are used as slaves.
Yes.
And who are the slave masters? Have you?
Yeah, I asked them that. Say like, who controls you?
Yeah,
See, they told me that there are a lot of these little gray ones running around with little guns,
little
with
grays, yeah.
energy guns,
Mhm.
and but the scary ones are once in a while this reptilian guy comes around.
The reptilians,
Yeah, some reptilian ones come around, and those are the scary ones.
the scary ones. And the little grays work for the reptilians.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
If the Greys do something wrong, in fact, what the reptilians do is sort of rip the heads off.
Yeah. So yeah, so the humans are sent to Mars to these bases to as basically a slave force, slaves to work for them.
Yeah, because technically, building things, humans are extremely good.
Okay. Okay. So the employ humans there.
The other races are no good for these sort of things.
Yeah. So all this comedy with Elon Musk and first missions to Mars, it's just a cover up to make people believe that we are going to build facilities on Mars, and one day we'll say, oh, we have built some facilities, but in fact they are here from a long time, and it's a trap. Mars is a trap, isn't it?
They're talking a lot of nonsense, really.
Yeah.
What they told me was that how they bring equipment. Sometimes they require heavy equipment. There are places on the earth where there's sometimes there's an explosive effect, and things that can be blown into space. So that's what they do. They put it on special containers, bring it to the place on the ocean or whatever it is, and let it blow out into space. What they do is they hook their ships waiting to hook onto them and grab them and bring them to Mars.
Do you think that's what they call the jump rooms to go to Mars. People have told about that. There are like places on Earth where it's like portal and people are just projected, teleported to Mars. Would you think it's the same thing?
The general that say mention about working riding the sled to Mars. You transport several people at the same time. But for larger numbers, they need a ship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Wow.
And most of these people, the stories they tell me about traveling to Mars on the ship wasn't the most pleasant because those few hours riding in that ship, life support isn't all that great and very unpleasant. And it's dangerous too because if you ever thrown outside the environment of the facilities there, you die in matter of minutes. That's why everybody is very compliant. You don't work, you die.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're confirming a lot of things that I was told as well. This is quite mind-blowing. Did you hear them talking about the moon?
Not quite. What happened? I don't know. There's a lot of activity. So.
Why? Well, Stevie, you are very brave to tell us all of this. Do you feel safe now?
Safe as I can be because I've been looking over my shoulder for decades. You know, this as far as do I need any more? No, I don't want any more of this BS. I mean, what have I done to hurt them?
Yeah.
I haven't.
No. And it is the time, when everyone speaks now and all these grays are there. Do you think as well as I think that their existence on Earth is nearly touching an end? Would you say that too?
Uh, I can feel that at last somebody is being able to take a rod and chase them off to the little corners or wherever they're hiding. It's about time because I'm really sick to death of these people, these beings.
Yeah.
They've harassed me for so long
No.
that if I can be part of doing the same thing as well, I'd be very glad to contribute.
Yes, yes. But you can contribute as well. Well, hopefully you will be heard if you can. Somebody think you'll be needed, and you can contribute as well scientifically with everything you've learned and understood. So it, I think it's only good ahead for everyone and for you especially now. And
Yes.
and this because I know you told me there's this Mitra entity that kind of sends like a dog to just torture you because they don't want you to remember. But you've overcome this creature. You have managed to get rid of it and take over. As incredible as it can seem, um, we are more powerful than them. We just need to know it.
But even then, it was a very, very painful experience, emotionally and physically. It's like, I mean, they have unusual powers as well, like trying to rip the soul out of my body. Like you could see blood coming out of my torso area where the soul area would be. But I do know that I am one that never gives up. You won't get it out of me.
No,
No.
no, and they're gonna go anyway soon. So you're, it's good now. Yeah, yeah. Um, well, thank you so much for all these informations, all your memories from the Area 51. And before I ask you more cheerful questions, is there anything else you remember you wanted to share?
I'm sure more memories will come back,
Yeah.
more finer details. Oh yeah, very important. The mitra feeds off your energy as well. They torture me because the emotions of negativity, when it's very extreme, they absorb that energy from me. And they get very, very strong because of that. In the presence of deep love, they fall apart.
This is
You can
crucial.
literally make them fall apart. Remember that, people.
Laughter.
They cannot hold on to you. They cannot hold on to high energy. They just cannot. It's like it's a fire on the fire on the flower. It shrinks instantly. You destroy them instantly. Very important.
So rising your vibration.
Yes. Vibrations of love from somebody else too. You back off from it. You cannot touch it. In
When
fact,
you
they're so afraid of that energy. In fact, that I heard it scream one time. I heard this mantra scream at one time.
so the energy of love and laughter.
Yes. Yes. Develop that every morning. Start and every evening before you sleep.
Have a good laugh.
I'm laughing a lot more these days.
And the more you laugh, the more he's going away, your shadow, not friend.
Yeah, the evil bunny.
Yeah. So yes, we all need, when good beings work hard to tell us, rise your vibration, rise your frequency. by feeling centered, peaceful, and happy, and laughing and love. That's not nonsense. It's really, really real,
Real truth.
real truth,
Like
and you've experienced
like
it yourself.
like part of my training in the martial arts in the early 80s, I was asked to lead meditation sessions with uh, Tibetan temples. You know, like, imagine having 200 monks and they're following you. Anyway, I don't use those alpha waves. I bring them up to gamma waves. Very different. Why I use gamma waves? When you focus on gamma, you can't help but being focused on joy. You want the joy. You want the sovereignty, the independence, your personal power, and you feel good, not sad after it all. So focus on the happiness. And if you can develop the gamma waves in your brain, it's so much the better.
So the feeling of happiness and joy and inner joy and simple laughter creates gamma waves.
Yes, you expand the gamma waves in the brain. We all have gamma waves, but very small amounts usually. Too much meditation is done on alpha.
On alpha.
Why that is not so great is because you're expecting somebody to tell you what to do. You want to tell the energies what you want, not the other way around.
Absolutely. So gamma waves are something that you can produce by this sensation of joy and happiness. And this rises your vibration and creates gamma waves, and that radiates from you. That's what you say. Feels
And
like
you
that.
also, because of that, you also raise your creativity
Mm. Yeah.
far greater than alpha waves.
So you naturally create the gamma waves when you create this feeling of joy and happiness. And the
Yes,
entities like the
yes.
Mitra or other dark entities, they can't approach, it burns them.
Yeah, the energy is too strong.
Too strong. That's why they try to scare people to,
Yeah, and your gamma disappears.
yeah, yeah. And then you create something else that they feed off. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be reaching up to the fifth dimension and not falling back into the lower third.
Yeah. Yeah. So if everyone was trying to do this, wow, they
Well,
would,
the Earth will be very different. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How would you
Or
see in,
you find that plants will grow better too. If you have a garden, you keep doing that, and you have better flowers, better vegetables, better fruits.
any other advice to create this gamma wave, radiate them?
Meditation. Start in the morning. Or like what you did for me was to send me those tuning forks. Use the gamma ones, and your brain will pick up on it very fast. Or alternatively, if you have a Tibetan bowl, a singing bowl, most of them are tuned to G.
G?
So pick one out, yes, and use it.
Perfect. G. Wonderful. Wonderful. Any kind of special hertz frequency, or it's just G?
No, G. See, the real Tibetan bowl has what we call 7 types of metal. Gold is one of them. Gold, silver is one of them. Sometimes platinum as well. So a real original one can be pretty pricey, but you don't have to go to all the way there. Just get one that's tuned to G.
G.
Hmm.
And this creates higher frequency. And
yes, because of where it is, when you do that, the vibration, you feel your energy centers, your chakras, is resonating with the bowl when you do it. And if you're very adventurous, get a huge one. Like what I did one time. Initially, when I used it, there was almost no sound because I didn't have enough energy. But I learned to provide it energy, and it starts to ring like a bell. And everybody's staring at me. It's like making so much noise. Was it so loud? Nobody's ever made this thing ring so loud before. So it's very energy sensitive.
wow, that is impressive. How do you see the future of humanity?
Full of promise. It is full of promise. Because from the time when I grew up and now, the time when I grew up, it was everybody fighting for scraps. And then those few people living like kings. But more and more, I see the controls starting to fall apart. You know, being a banker, I can tell that the banking system will change, and I would see that a new kind of cryptocurrency would work. But somebody must go and destroy the old first, meaning, to be fair, you have to get rid of the unfairness. That means crooked money, get rid of it. And then this new cryptocurrency can be unbreakable.
Thank you. And what about, you see the free energy? Believe in that as well?
Okay, the free energy, all it requires is one large company making use of a new technology, and the floodgates would open. What I like to see is engines being replaced, engines and motor cars being replaced, because there will be immediate adoption by people. Everybody will want it. And we can start very quickly.
Yeah. Wow, this is very impressive. You think what we've learned about alien technology, of course, will be integrated in our new device, energy
It
device?
must.
It must.
It must, because they're so far ahead.
Yeah.
At the very least, use their principles.
Yeah.
See, development of technology is really a spiritual thing. If how spiritual you are, well, you can this way you can control the AI, not let AI control you.
Yeah. Yeah. The power of the spirit. It is a new age where you are, in a way, a precursor. You are a representative of humans of the near future because of your developed natural abilities. And what do you think? That humans will be like you? We are all like the same, but you have all of these abilities. You have a step ahead because it is activated in
Well,
you.
once it's shown, just like the Roger Bannister, right? Running below 4 minute mile. All you need is one person to get started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Others will follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Where we go, one we go all, as they say. Yes, just it takes that somebody starts it, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Do you see humanity walking hand in hand, as we can say, with benevolent extraterrestrials? No, not those you've been have misadventures with, but other ones. Have you felt them near? Have you? What have you? What I?
Yes, I believe that it was going to happen. You see, people remember the nasty things more than they remember the pleasant ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes beings that you come across your life, maybe an AT, you don't even realize that. They gave you a little bit of advice, they give you a bit of hand, you know.
Yeah.
As they say, the angels among us.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people so-called people giving me advice, pointing me in a certain direction, and I have no idea who they are. And just a little bit later on, looking for them, I don't even know who they are. They seem to have vanished.
I think you were well looked after. Well, I mean, if you're still alive and victorious now, after all you've been through, you
Yes, I
have good
mean,
protectors.
even the car, horrible accident in trying to get rid of the metro came out without a scratch, which was quite astounding because, all the services, emergency service people came around and like expecting the worst, and here I was, nothing happened to me. Not one scratch. Even my friend who was driving the car, not one scratch on her. So I mean, how come?
You have good protection and probably benevolent ETs. Why not people linked to who you are, your family? Who knows? I was thinking more of a galactic family or
Oh, I wish to know them.
and
I really wish to know them.
I'm sure they take care of you. So thank you so much. It's been 2 hours. You've been talking. You must be very
Oh,
tired. Maybe we will speak again another time. And, I wouldn't like you to get too tired and to mind yourself. So I don't know how to express my gratitude on behalf of all those who are listening for your courage and your resilience and your strength and your courage to speak now. And on behalf of everyone, we honor you and we thank you. And we are very privileged to get to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much. And is there anything you would wish, a message you would wish to pass on to humanity in these times?
Thank you for your kind words. For humanity, don't lose hope. In fact, I won't say hope anymore. So look to who and what you want to be. How far do you want to go? It's not a message of hope. It's be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gratitude.
Namaste.